And welcome back here to Driveway Talk Episode 3. I'm Ben Johnson alongside Daniel Sippy. And Daniel, let's not waste any more time. We have a lot of fans in the area around Charlotte and the Raleigh area. Let's go ahead and start with the Carolina Panthers and just the hot streak that they are on right now.
Yeah, Ben, I don't know how to explain it to you. I just know that they're winning. I mean, it's just been an absolute crazy ride. I go back to, week 3. I was watching this team with several people, and man, it was like, man, I don't know what's going to happen. Is Rivera gone? Is what's going to happen here? And I'm telling you, man, I don't know what happened. But I don't know. Ron the Riverboat Gambler is what his new nickname is through the Charlotte area. I don't know what happened, but I don't know if he lit a fire under him, if Cam Newton's progression or this defense's progression or what all happened. But I'll tell you one thing. They are on some kind of streak, man.
They are. I said last week that, I predicted, of course, the 49ers to edge out the Panthers just because of the fact that it was in Candlestick Park. But I said I would not be surprised if the Panthers came out with a victory, and they did. It wasn't a barn burner by any sense as far as the score was only close, not at 10-9 after the Graham Gano 53-yard field goal with 10:05 left, and the Panthers pretty much just held that lead since then with the help, of course, of no other than Luke Kuechly with 11 tackles, a sack, and two tackles for a loss. Next person up was A.J. Klein with 5 tackles and a sack and 2 tackles for losses. So I think it's safe to say the leader on that defense for the Panthers is Luke Kuechly. And what do you have to say about him, Daniel, as he's pretty much just around our age and he's playing against grown men pretty much as far as NFC. It's pretty good accomplishment for him.
I mean, you look at that line that the Niners have. Those are big boys. Those are some big boys. They're going to run the ball down your throat kind of offense. And Kuechly, I thought, and I'm not going to try and hide this one. When the pick was made for him, I said, "What are you doing?" We're in an offensive league. You're drafting a middle linebacker out of Boston. Was it Boston College?
Yeah, it's Boston College.
Yeah, I thought so. And you're drafting this kid at a Boston College that's a middle linebacker. Like you don't do this. Like you don't see the draft of a middle linebacker. The last middle linebacker I remember seeing come out of the draft was Ray Lewis. I mean, that's the last name that I completely remember that was a middle linebacker and started. The kid's absolutely great. If you watch him, watch a game, slow down, look at the film, kind of thing. He does all the small things. He gets in. He does great with run coverage. He can get after the quarterback. He can spy, and he can cover a tight end / wide receiver coming across the middle. And I don't think many people want to test him coming across the middle. He's some kind of hitter too. He will lay the wood on you, as they say back in the old days there.
Yeah, and I'm actually looking at Kuechly's combine stats right now. It says one of his weaknesses was he had a lot of inflated tackle production as far as a lot of his tackles were down the field. And, we mentioned in this game he had 11 tackles with 2 for a loss and a sack. So I think he's proven the critics wrong. And, his 40 time was a 4.58. So pretty impressive for the 6'3" middle linebacker out of Boston College to make his name heard here in Charlotte and anywhere he plays. And he was one of the big factors to hold Colin Kaepernick, who was supposed to be the franchise leader for the 49ers, getting rid of Alex Smith, Jim Harbaugh staying with Colin Kaepernick. Kaepernick was 11 for 22, 91 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception. That interception came late in the game, sealing the deal for the Panthers. So, you have to kind of question the decision of Harbaugh, which is why you and I always talk about you should never get too far ahead of yourself with these scrambling quarterbacks because when they first come into the league, there's not much film on them, which is why they can do what they do. But then these defensive minds and the coaches and defensive coordinators are so smart nowadays that if you get film on a quarterback, no matter if they can run or not, you can pretty much contain him. And that's what people are doing this year against Kaepernick. And you're seeing his stats go down. People on ESPN, Trent Dilfer, and them are saying he's kind of reached his ceiling. Not much praise going for him this year as there was in the offseason of this past season.
Yeah, everybody was drinking the Kaepernick Kool-Aid there, and man, we discussed it, Ben, and us being Packers fans, we're blessed with one of the best, and he's out right now. But He Rodgers is one of the best, but I couldn't understand. Someone was trying to explain to me the other day. They said Rodgers is a system quarterback, and I said, wait a second. I said we gotta break this down and slow it down. I said let me give you the thing on Kaepernick is you can really confuse him with different looks. You can show blitz on the right, and then if you bring back the guy in coverage, he never sees the guy going back in coverage, and instead he reads and reacts prior to the game happening, which can be a problem with young quarterbacks. That's why you see a lot of quarterbacks. They're one-sided reads. They've got two routes on the left. They get the snap, they look to the left, and if neither one of them are open, you throw the ball away. Well, now Kaepernick's trying to open up the whole thing, and he has no vertical threat. I mean, he can throw the ball 70 yards in the air, no problem, but he has no one to go down and get the ball. So teams are packing it in, 7, 8, 9 in the box, and if you got a linebacker like Kuechly, like the Panthers have, you can lock him up with Vernon Davis, and he's going to go with them down the field. And that's what I think was the big eliminating factor was Kuechly being able to handle Davis on a one-on-one basis, and then they roll a safety over the top to make sure they've got cover. And I think the other thing, Ben, is Frank Gore. He hasn't been there. He's not run the ball down your throat, and that whole read option isn't good for a heavy back like him to be able to try and run downhill. I think they figured out that pistol formation also there in San Francisco that they were so successful with.
Yeah, and we'll try to transition now into more of the fact as far as the matchup this week, but we'll give a brief synopsis as far as what 49ers have going into this week. And in fact, after the Panthers just beat them, if you're a Carolina Panthers fan, you're going to be pulling for the 49ers this week as they're traveling to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome and playing the Saints that are 7-2. And that's a big matchup because with the Panthers being 6-3, they're only one game back now in their division, right? One game behind the Saints. So you're hoping for a 49ers win there in New Orleans. And the Panthers have no cakewalk by any means this Monday night, the prime time game against the New England Patriots. Patriots, who are obviously always on a hot streak. They're coming in with a 7-2 record, no surprise. Actually coming off a bye week, and Bill Belichick, one of the mastermind of all the coaches, giving him an extra week to prepare. Bill Belichick's ego will not let him lose this game, whatever it takes. So it's going to be a battle of the clashes of the great defense, of course, of the Panthers against obviously one of the top 5 elite quarterbacks in the league, and Tom Brady.
Yeah, Ben, it's going to be interesting. I think I saw a fact today. I don't know if this is a true fact. I think Belichick is some ridiculous number, like only like 1 or 2 losses coming off of a bye week. I mean, you give the guy an extra week, he's a mastermind. I mean, honestly, him and Brady together, you can put me and you out there as wide receivers, and I think Brady's got an opportunity to spin the ball to us very nicely. And I don't know what the keys are going to be this week, Ben. I mean, what do you think are the keys for the Panthers honestly, to come out with a win?
They talked about it in an interview with the not just one individual Patriot secondary, cornerback, and safeties, but just kind of going through all of them. And something that Ted Ginn Jr. and Steve Smith and LaFell all have in common is that they're all deep threat receivers. So the Patriots secondary is going to be on their heels, or making sure they're not on their heels, falling back with these deep threats of Steve Smith. Smith is going to be playing at the most elite level, playing in Charlotte, Monday Night Football. Panthers on a 5-game winning streak. He's going to want to come out and show out his skill like he always does every week. The heart he has for being the size he is. It's going to be great. Cam Newton's going to be psyched. He's going to be in a primetime game. He's going to want to throw up the Superman chest symbol after he gets a running touchdown, get the ball to a kid, blah, blah, blah. The Cam Newton credentials that he always does. Fans love it. So it's going to be just a big battle, of course, as far as the Panthers D holding Tom Brady to a considerable less amount of yards because, as you said, Patriots don't really have anybody to throw to. Their leading receiver is Julian Edelman with 473 yards and 2 touchdowns only this season. Steve Smith is edging him a little more in yards so far, and actually Newton and Brady both have 13 touchdowns of the year. Brady has almost about 1,000 more yards in passing than Newton. So it's just going to be a key effort as far as trying to tone down Tom Brady. Of course, he's going to get his yards. It doesn't matter who his receivers are. He's going to make something happen as Tom Brady, top 5 quarterback in the league. just a matter if the Panthers can contain it enough for Cam Newton to be on the field more and make his magic happen, whether it's through the air or through the ground with his great speed he has.
Right, right. And I think on the reverse side of that, I think a key for the Panthers and Patriots, if you look at it, you got Gronkowski coming as the tight end for New England, and you got
The Gronk Spike.
and you got Olsen over there against with the Panthers. Man, that could be a key matchup. You know, LaFell and Smith on the outside, but you gotta have that hybrid tight end back, whatever you want to call him, specialty, whatever you want to call him. And I think Olsen and Tolbert could play a huge role in this game. Whether Tolbert for the short yardage back and scoring there, and also you can use him out of the backfield. You can set up with two tight ends, two receivers, protect yourself, and we know the Panthers are going to put, or the Patriots are going to put, the Patriots are going to put their best corner on Smith, and he hasn't been beat much. He shut down Roddy White a couple weeks ago, and he's shut down pretty much everybody he's played against. The only guy he hadn't shut down was Jimmy Graham, and that was because he was just a mammoth beast to have to deal with. But you know, I think the tight ends could play a huge role. I think Carolina controlling the clock, running game, you know, time of possession, and imposing your will. Hate to be the old-fashioned guy, put the three up on the board, but those are the three that need to be done. And honestly, another thing that I think could be key here is the kicking game. I mean, the kicker for the Panthers, I don't think has missed this year. Did I read that correctly somewhere? I think that's a stat I heard. 53 yards is pretty impressive in Candlestick with the win and everything last week, but I think that could be a key thing too. It may be 3 points. I just don't know, man. It could be a tight one, and it could be a whitewash. And I think the three things, Ben, are running the ball, controlling the clock, and stopping Gronkowski on defense for the Panthers. Kuechly's got to be a contributor again this week with 10 or more tackles and impose his will on the Patriots.
And Daniel, the good points there. The spread here, Carolina Panthers fans will be excited to hear this. They're actually favored at a narrow margin, actually. The spread is 2.5 in favor of the Carolina Panthers. So we'll see what happens there. And if you want to go ahead and give your prediction on what you think is going to happen Monday night here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Ben, I just don't know, man. I'm gonna drink the Kool-Aid this week. I'm gonna go Panthers. I'm gonna go Panthers by touchdown. A touchdown.
Full touchdown.
I got more faith than Vegas does, baby. 7 points, Panthers. 28-21, Panthers.
You know, Daniel, I'm actually going to have to sip a little bit of the Kool-Aid as well. Last week I went against the Panthers, but this week I'm going with you, and in favor of all of my Panthers family and friends, I'm going to go with the Panthers as well. 24-17 here in Charlotte, North Carolina, Monday Night Football. Panthers get the victory and will be at least tied up on top of the NFC South along with the Saints. If the Saints lose, victory by the 49ers. So going by 7, just like you are, Daniel, I think the Panthers can do it. I would not have said it in week 2 or 3, but the quality of play they played on defense, they mean business. They're going to show business on the field. Cam Newton's going to make magic happen on the ground like he has so far, and in the air. Hopefully he can pad his stats a little bit more. But any closing thoughts for you, Daniel, from this game? Just what to look for, what to be excited for?
If I'm a Panthers fan, I'm excited. You're back relevant. You're back in the national talk. You know, you're getting a lot of love. And, you know, if I'm a Panthers fan, hey, let's drink some Kool-Aid and let's enjoy this and let's ride on into the sunset and let's go ahead and take care of New England this week. And let's go ahead and get forward and beat the Saints next week, too, if we're going to go ahead and get it all there.
Let's do it. You had Carolina Panthers winning. I had Carolina Panthers winning. Everyone in Charlotte pretty much has the Carolina Panthers winning. Let's go with it. Let's support the home team. Carolina Panthers over the New England Patriots. Monday Night Football. Stay tuned.